بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Interpretation of the Holy Quran.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. With the help of Allah, we began a brief commentary of Quran. We got to chapter Ma'idah, the 5th chapter of Quran, which is revealed in Medina. It has 120 verses. Please listen to verse 38.
والسارق والسارقة فاقطعوا أيديهما جزاء بما كسبا نكالا من الله والله عزيز حكيم.
And the man who steals and the woman who steals cut off their hands as a punishment for what they have earned. An exemplary punishment from Allah, and Allah is mighty wise. In previous section we talked about this verse and we promise to continue. Allah says, a man who steals or a woman who steals, their hand should be cut off. It is a very typical punishment from Allah because of something that they got. They got something by stealing, and now the punishment is very, very serious. Their hand should be cut off. Then Allah says, Wallahu Azizun Hakim, and Allah is mighty, is wise. There is a question here. When Allah wants to talk about man and woman who steals, Allah says, As-sariqu was-sariqu was-sariqa. As-sariq is a man who steals. As-sariqa is for female, a woman who steals. Here Allah mentioned all the man first. But in another chapter, chapter Nur, the 2nd verse, we will see when Allah is talking regarding to the women and men who commit adultery. And Allah wants to mention their punishment. In that verse, Allah first mentioned the women. Here, Allah mentioned man, but in that verse, verse 2nd in chapter Nur, first Allah mentions women. Allah says, Az-zaniyatu waz-zani. Az-zaniya, it means a woman who commits adultery. Az-zani, a man who commits adultery. So in this verse, verse 38, first Allah mentions men, second women. In verse 2nd of chapter Nur, first Allah mentions woman, then men. What is the reason? A scholar says, maybe the reason is for stealing, because most of the thieves are men. Comparing to women, most of the thieves are men. Men are coming out of home and there is more facilities or possibilities of stealing. Because of that, first Allah is talking about the punishment for men, then for women. But regarding to adultery, it happens from the women's side more. Because of that, Allah said, وَالزَّانِيَةُ وَالزَّانِي. The women who commit adultery and men who commit adultery, فَجْلِدُوا كُلَّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمَا مِئَةَ جَلْدَةٍ. Beats each of them, women and men, مِئَةَ جَلْدَةٍ, 100 lashes. وَلَا تَأْخُذْكُمَا بِهِمَا رَأْفَةٌ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ. And try not to have mercy on them. This is one issue. And second, it is good to know that regarding to the punishment of a thief, Allah says their hands should be cut off. And we said hand, it means these four fingers should be cut off, except the thumb and except this side of the hand. Only these four fingers should be cut off. There is a question, one of the great scholars is asked about this question, Sayyid Murtaza Alamul Huda, who was one of the great Shia scholars. He was asked for such a question that if a person intentionally cuts the hand of another person, what is the blood money for that? What is the diya if one person cuts the hand of another person? That scholar said it is obvious, which is about the blood money. Diya is 2,500 grams gold, about 40 camels. It is the gold that he should pay it. Then he was asked, okay, what about for stealing? If a person steals money, how much if he steals, his hand will be cut off? Is there any difference between amount or not? He said, yes, there is a difference, but minimum if he steals the 1.25 gram gold, less than 2 grams, his hand should be cut off. This scholar was asked that how it is possible. If somebody cuts his hand, should give him 2,500 grams gold or 40 camels, which is a lot. But if he steals only less than 2 grams, 1.25 grams, his hand should be cut off. Anyway, his hand either has a lot of value or not. If its value is 2,500 grams, which is equal of, in Arabic, 500 misqal, because each misqal is equal of 5 grams. 500 misqal, it is equal of 2,500 grams. This scholar was asked this question that if his hand has such a value, what about if he steals only less than 2 grams? His hand should be cut off. Ayatollah Alamul Huda said, Murtaza Alamul Huda, he said, yes, this hand had a lot of value as long as did not steal anything. But the time that it had stolen something, it has no value. When it was clean, its value was 2,500 grams gold. But when it has stolen something, its value will be reduced to 1.25 grams. Okay, we said these 4 fingers should be cut off, and also we said yes, the hand should be cut off if we steal from hairs, from somewhere which is protected. Otherwise, if we steal from inside the market which is open, from inside the restaurant which is open, supermarket is open, yes, the hand should not be cut off. Plus, if a person steals food but really he needs, he's hungry, his hand should not be cut off. Hand should be cut off if he steals certain amount in a certain way and he is not hungry, only because of pleasure he steals. Then his hand should be cut off. We know that in Islam, we are encouraged to take care of each other, protect each other, financially especially. Government will take care of others and we have responsibility. But if we will not fulfill our responsibility, steal, the thief has no value to steal from somebody else. And this is the punishment that Allah says for a person who steals money. And it is good to know that this punishment is not something that a person whose money have been stolen will forgive. If somebody has stolen my money and they brought him to the court, I cannot say, please don't cut his hand because I have forgiven. No, this is not my right. This is Allah's rights. Yes, if I will forgive him before they bring him to the court, he will be forgiven. But after they bring him to the court, this is the right of Allah, and even if I forgive him, his hand should be cut off. As from the other side, at the same time that the court orders to cut his hand, he should give me my money. This is something else. Plus that, of course, his hand should be cut off. Yes, if he says, I made a mistake, I thought that money is mine, or that luck belonged to me, that car belonged to me, and we think maybe he is true, yes, we should forgive him, and the had fixed punishment and penalty will be removed definitely, because we have narration that al-hudud tudra'u bil-shubahat, fixed penalties will be removed anytime you are not sure that he has stolen money with all certain rules. Even when we guess one of the rules will not fit, then the punishment will be removed. Thank you very much for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.